In the county of Northumberland, in the northeast of England, lies the Ridsdale Valley. It's a quiet landscape, but as you travel through it, something catches your eye. A ruin. Tall stone walls. Enormous arches. From a distance, it could fool anyone into thinking it's a medieval castle. There's no record of a fortress in this valley, no recorded battles, no lord who built a stronghold, and yet these ruins are undeniably real. So I came here, curious to find out what this building actually was. And the answer? It's far stranger than a castle, because these walls once held a machine powerful enough to help fuel the Industrial Revolution. This is Rails and Revolutions, the history that built us, the forces that shaped us. Standing here, the scale of the place really hits you. The walls rise for several stories. The stonework is thick and unyielding. The arches are vast. If you don't know better, you could almost believe you were looking at a fortress guarding the valley. And many people do. But something's off. Look closer. There are no arrow slits, no battlements, no defensive towers. Instead, there are massive openings in the walls. Openings that make sense for a machine, not a castle. This is in fact the last surviving structure of Ridsdale Ironworks. In the early 19th century, This quiet valley was briefly pulled into the machinery of Britain's industrial age. And this building was the beating heart of the whole operation. Inside these walls once stood two enormous steam-powered beam engines. These were machines of staggering size. Each had a massive rocking beam pivoting on a central support, like a colossal seesaw. One end connected to a steam piston, the other drove the machinery that pushed air into the furnaces below. If the engines were still here today, the beam alone would stretch across most of this building. Every few seconds it would rise, pause at the top, then slam down with immense force. Back and forth, hour after hour, day and night, feeding the furnaces that forged iron for a rapidly industrializing nation. It's impossible not to imagine the danger. One slip, one malfunction, and someone could be crushed or the entire engine house destroyed. Yet men laboured here day after day amid fire, heat and smoke, driven by ambition and the pressure to produce iron faster, heavier and stronger. The height of this building wasn't for show. Beam engines needed vertical space so those giant beams could swing without obstruction. The taller the building, the longer the beam. The longer the beam, the greater the mechanical leverage, and the more air could be pumped into the furnaces. Shorter buildings would have limited the engine's power. Every inch of height was functional. Every thick wall, every arch, every empty space was carefully engineered. Those beam engines powered the air pumps that fed the blast furnaces. That constant airflow was vital. Without it, the furnaces simply wouldn't have reached the temperatures needed to smelt iron. To understand why this site existed at all, we need to go back to the 1830s. Britain was in the heart of the Industrial Revolution. Railways were spreading, factories were growing, and cities were swelling. All of it required iron for bridges, railway tracks, steam engines, and ships. Iron was the backbone of the nation. When ironstone was discovered in the hills above Broomhope Burn, investors saw opportunity, but it came with massive risk. This valley was remote, difficult to reach, and completely untested. Muddy roads, swollen streams, harsh winters. Any of it could stop a shipment or ruin an entire furnace batch. In 1836, construction began on the new ironworks. It was ambitious. 3 blast furnaces, 2 of which are now under later buildings. 3 lines of coke ovens, roasting kilns, and reservoirs. But unlike other works, there were no wagonways or railways to bring ironstone from the hills. Everything had to be hauled by pack horse or cart along treacherous roads, which were often mud-choked and impassable in bad weather. Every delivery was a gamble. Every wagon load of coal or limestone carried the risk of delay or disaster. At the heart of it all stood the engine house. Today, the valley is peaceful, but in the 1840s, this place would have been alive with fire and noise. Blast furnaces glowed day and night. Smoke poured from the coke ovens. Steam engines thundered inside the engine house. Men moved iron, coal and limestone across difficult terrain. For a brief moment, this quiet valley was part of Britain's industrial machine. But one storm, one mechanical failure, one misstep, and the whole project could have collapsed. The furnaces produced pig iron, the raw material for foundries across the country. Some of it went into Stephenson's high-level bridge, completed in 1849. It's a symbol of Victorian engineering, built in part from iron made right here in this valley. But the location was a constant problem. It was beautiful. Yes, but remote. Without railways, iron had to be carted over rough roads, which was both costly and dangerous. Meanwhile, other ironworks closer to coalfields and transport hubs had a huge advantage. Slowly, the economics turned against Ridsdale. Every wagon, every furnace, and every engine carried risk. Failure was always looming. After only 2 decades, the experiment ended. Around 1857, the furnaces went cold. The engines stopped. The machinery was dismantled. Some of the furnaces were actually shipped to Armstrong's Elswick works. By the late 19th century, the entire complex had vanished, except for one building, the engine house. When the beam engines were removed, the eastern wall had to be torn down just to get them out. It's a stark reminder of the sheer size and power of these machines. Even today, a pile of slag sits to the west of the building. A quiet relic of the furnaces that once roared here. Standing here now, you can't help but feel the fragility of human ambition. This place, once full of fire and life, could have failed at any moment. One miscalculation, one storm, one fire, and the valley could have swallowed it whole. Yet somehow, this building endures. Without machinery or smoke, the engine house begins to look like something it's never been. Travellers ask, what castle is this? The answer is none. This was never a castle. It was a machine, built with purpose, and now standing silently. As a ghost of Britain's industrial age. If you have ever come across a ruin, and wondered what it was? Drop a comment below. Have you seen similar industrial castles? I'd love to hear your stories. Today, the valley is quiet. The engines are gone. The furnaces are gone. The ironworks have vanished. But the engine house remains. A strange ruin, part industrial building, part accidental castle. For just 20 years, this place played a small role in building the iron backbone of Victorian Britain. Then the industry moved on. The railways went elsewhere. The valley returned to silence. But the stone shell still stands. A reminder that sometimes the ruins of machines can look just like the ruins left behind by kings. If industrial sites fascinate you, leave a comment and tell me which lost ruins I should explore next. Every valley has a story waiting to be uncovered.